Okay, lesson 86, greater than, trichotomy, and transitive axioms, which we're not actually going to do, and irrational roots. Now this is straight from your Algebra 1 book, so I don't think you're going to have any trouble with it unless you forget. But we are to graph x is less than 3. The domain is positive integers. So positive integers would start with 1 and 2, 3, 4, etc. So here we go. So you just make your little graph, and we put a few numbers on there, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, -5. So we want all the values of x that are less than 3, not equal to 3. So, and we just want positive integers. So we're not going to fill in the 3 because it's not equal to 3. We're just going to fill in the 2 and the 1, and we're not including fractions or decimals, so we just put the points on the integers, and that's your answer. So you can see how easy these are. The next one is x is greater than -3, and the domain this time is the reals, which means everything on a number line anyway. Includes everything but imaginary numbers. So it's greater than -3, not equal to, so we put an open circle on it, and we're going to color in all the numbers greater than -3, so it'll be all of these. We just color those in. It's real, so it's even fractions and decimals. And we fill in the arrow, and that's all you do for that. Okay, let's look at these. They're a little bit more complicated, but we did these in Algebra 1. We want x is not less than or equal to -4. So all you do is you flip it. If it's not less than, then it's greater than. It's not equal to, so you don't put equal to that, -4. It's negative integers this time. So we put our number line here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, -5. Another one. X is greater than -4, and it's negative integers. So we're not going to fill in the -4 because it's not and equal to. So it would just be 3, 2, and 1. And that's how easy those are. Let's try one more. Actually, there's two more. This one is -x. First thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to switch my sign. It's not greater than, so it's less than 2. After you switch your sign, then you can solve it for x. You get -x is less than -2. Hopefully you remember that whenever you divide or multiply by a negative number, you have to switch your inequality sign. So it's going to end up being x is greater than 2. This is all the reals. So you're just going to do on your number line, here's your 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, greater than 2, not equal to, so it's an open circle, and you just, oh, it's not greater than, so it is going to be equal to. You're going to, if it's not greater than, then it's less than or equal to. So it's going to be filled in, and you just color it the whole way in. The tricky part on this one is just remember when you divide by a negative or multiply by a negative, you have to switch your inequality sign. One more of these before we get on to something more complicated. -x is -4 is less than -2. Solve it for x. -x is less than 2. X is greater than, so I'm switching that, -2. Now they're telling us that it's just negative integers, so we do our number line. 0, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, -4, greater than -2, and it's just negative integers, so it's only going to be on one point, because it's not and equal to -2, so we can't put a point on that, so we're just going to put a point on -1. It's the only integer. Negative integer greater than -2. That's it for those. Hope you found them easy. And the next part of this lesson is irrational roots. Is really similar to what we did in the last lesson. In the last lesson, however, you would have a circle, and a line went through it, and it intersected in 2 points. The ones we're going to do now, they don't intersect. They're actually irrational roots. It's not that they don't intersect. They do intersect, but they're not going to give, they're going to give you a square root of something like square root of 2. And that's irrational. So the way you're going to find that out, that it's irrational, is you're just going to do it just like before, except you won't be able to factor them, and you're going to have to use a quadratic formula. This might be square root of negative square root of 2, 3, or something like that. That would be an irrational root. So let's just start the same way. Solve this one for y, the x plus 1. Substitute that in for y, x squared plus x plus 1 squared equals 9. Then we would get x squared plus x squared plus 2x plus 1, remember to do the little trick there, equals 9. 2x squared plus 2x minus 8 equals 0. We can divide everything by 2 just to make it simpler. So we're going to get x squared plus x minus 4 equals 0. Now when you go to factor this, you're going to find that you can't factor it. You could try all the combinations that you want, 2 and 2, 3 and 1, none of them is going to give you a 1. So you can't factor it, so if you can't factor it, you have to use the quadratic formula. A is equal to 1, B is equal to 1, C is equal to negative 4, and we plug it in. Hopefully you have the formula memorized. If not, you need to do that. X equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared, that'd be 1, minus 4 times a times c, all over 2 times a. Plug those in. Negative 1 plus or minus the square root, that would be 16 plus 1 is 17 over 2. Now you can see we have two answers for our x. We have negative 1 plus the square root of 17 and negative 1 minus the square root of 17 over 2. But now we have to find our y. Now if we go back up here, we can see that y equals x plus 1. So to get our y's, we're just going to add 1 to this. So to get our first y, it's going to be negative 1 plus the square root of 17 over 2 plus 1. And to get our second y, it's going to be negative 1 minus the square root of 17 over 2 plus 1. So the first one, this is two answers, the plus answer and the minus answer, and we just add 1 to it. And when we do this, it's not hard to add 1. The same as adding 2 over 2, right? This is the same as 2 over 2 and 2 over 2. So we're going to get the common denominator is 2. 2 minus 1 is 1 plus the square root of 17. Made that a little big. And our other y value is 2 minus 1, 1 minus the square root of 17 over 2. Those are your two values. Whoops, one should have been negative 1. Oh, never mind. That's right. Okay, so you're going to write your x values and your y values for your answers. These are your answers. It's kind of messy looking, but they're not that hard. So you're going to get negative 1 plus the square root of 17 over 2 is your first x. And your first y is 1 plus the square root of 17 over 2. And your other answer is going to be negative 1 minus the square root of 17 over 2. And your y would be 1 minus the square root of 17 over 2. In the book, I think they write it like this: minus 1/2 plus the square root of 17 over 2. And 1/2 plus the square root of 17 over 2, minus 1/2 minus the square root of 17 over 2, and 1/2 minus the square root of 17 over 2. That's it for lesson 86.